You ever wonder how some people just seem to get money? Not in the flashy, I bought a Lambo way. I mean the people who quietly build wealth, who aren't stressed every time rent is due, who sleep well at night, even when the economy's acting like a toddler throwing a tantrum. Now, let me tell you something a bit uncomfortable. There's a reason behind that kind of calm. And it's not luck. It's rules. Unspoken, often ancient, sometimes overlooked but very real rules. And some of the clearest, most practical ones come from Jewish tradition. I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying it because I've seen what happens when people don't know these rules. And it ain't pretty. So let's talk. Not as a rabbi, not as a banker, just as someone who grew up hearing a different kind of money talk around the dinner table. A talk that could have saved a lot of people a lot of pain if they'd only heard it earlier. Ready? Let's go. Let's start with a big one. Rule 1. Money is a tool, not a god. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, I've heard that before. But have you really? Because when you treat money like a god, you serve it. You sacrifice your time, your family, your peace, all on the altar of more. But when you treat money like a tool, like a hammer or a shovel, it becomes something you use to build a better life, not something you worship. In Jewish culture, we're taught to honor money but never bow to it. There's a difference. You can appreciate a tool without letting it run your life. And when you get that straight, you start making better decisions. You stop chasing every shiny opportunity. You think long-term, because gods demand sacrifice. Tools demand wisdom. Rule 2. Debt is slavery? Yes, even the good kind. Let me tell you a quick story. My uncle, may his memory be a blessing, used to say, if you owe a man $1,000, he owns your weekend. If you owe him $100,000, he owns your life. Sounds dramatic, maybe. But debt doesn't just take your money. It takes your choices, your peace of mind, your future income. In Jewish law, historically, excessive debt was seen as a kind of enslavement. And trust me, we're a people who take slavery pretty seriously. Now, I'm not saying never take a loan. A mortgage can be useful. So can a business loan if it's smart, controlled, and you're not betting the house. But the moment you normalize debt, especially consumer debt, you've already lost the game. Because every dollar you borrow is a piece of your future sold at a discount. That $3 coffee on a credit card. If you carry interest, that's the most expensive latte of your life. Rule 3. Give first, then build. This one surprises people. You'd think the path to wealth starts with saving, right? But the Jewish rule says, first, give. Why? Because giving trains your brain to detach from money, to see it as a river, not a reservoir. And when you give first, even a little, you break the fear that there's never enough. In Hebrew, the word tzedakah is often translated as charity, but it actually means justice. Giving isn't optional. It's part of how we keep the world balanced. And weirdly, people who give consistently tend to end up with more. Not because the universe is magic, but because they've developed a mindset of abundance. They think like someone who'll be okay. And that mindset leads to braver decisions, smarter risks, and deeper relationships, which, spoiler, often lead to more wealth. Rule 4. Never confuse wealth with status. I have a neighbor. Drives an old Toyota. Wears the same sweaters. Lives in the same small house for 30 years. He could buy half the block, but he doesn't care about looking rich. He cares about being free. See, in Jewish thought, wealth is measured by independence. Do you own your time? Can you walk away from a bad job? Can you take care of your family without panic? That's wealth. Buying stuff to look impressive, that's performance. And it's expensive. You know who's not impressed by your $2,000 watch? The guy who earns $2,000 a day in passive income while wearing a Casio. Let the world chase image. You chase freedom. Rule 5. Know where every coin goes. You ever sit down at the end of the month and think, where the heck did all my money go? That's not just a budgeting issue. That's a spiritual problem. Because Jewish tradition teaches if you don't control your money, it'll control you. Every shekel, every dollar, is like a soldier. You either send it to battle with a plan or it goes AWOL. There's even a rabbinic saying, a person should know the details of their money better than the details of their neighbor's life. Which is funny, because most people know exactly what their friend posted on Instagram, but not how much they spent on food this week. Track your money. All of it. Not because you're obsessed, but because you respect it. You don't need a fancy app. A notebook works. What matters is awareness. Because awareness creates intention, and intention creates change. Rule 6. Shabbat is a masterclass in wealth. Okay, stay with me here. Imagine a whole day. No work, no phone, no credit cards, no spending. Just rest, connection, meals with family, and a break from the grind. That's Shabbat. Now, whether you're religious or not, this idea is brilliant. One day a week where you say, I have enough. I am enough. It teaches you something radical. Your value isn't tied to productivity. And in a culture where hustle never sleeps, that's a revolutionary act. You want to feel rich? Spend one day a week acting like a millionaire who doesn't need to earn another dime. Because the richest people aren't the ones working 24/7s. They're the ones who know when to stop. Rule 7. Teach your kids early. Jewish kids learn about money young. There's this tradition called chinuch, training children in the way they should go. And yes, that includes finances. Kids get little coin boxes to give to charity. They learn to split money into categories: giving, saving, spending. They watch adults talk openly about budgets and trade-offs. Because silence about money creates confusion. And confused kids grow into anxious adults who either fear money or worship it. Neither ends well. Teach early. Talk often. Even if you don't have it all figured out yet, your mistakes can become their wisdom. So what happens if you ignore these rules? Well, look around. Most people don't have savings. They live paycheck to paycheck. They drown in credit card debt and call it normal. They work 40 years and retire with less than they need. Not because they were lazy, but because they were untrained. It's like putting someone in a boxing match without telling them where to stand or how to guard their face. Of course, they'll get knocked out. These rules, they're the stance, the guard, the footwork, the basics. You don't need to be rich to start using them. But if you don't learn them, if you spend your life winging it financially, then yeah, the consequences are harsh. Not in a fire and brimstone way, just in a quiet desperation kind of way. Living on edge, always behind, always stressed. And you know the worst part? You think it's your fault, like you're just bad with money. But no one told you the rules. Until now. Listen, I'm not saying these Jewish rules are the only way, but they've been tested for centuries. Through exile, persecution, instability, recessions, you name it. And we're still here, still building, still giving, still teaching our kids how to handle money like it matters. Because it does matter. Money touches every part of life: health, marriage, freedom, legacy. So yeah, it's worth getting it right. And you can, one step at a time. Track your spending, cut bad debt, give a little, rest a little, talk about it, teach your kids. It's not about being perfect, it's about starting different. If you want, I can make another video diving deeper into one of these rules. Just let me know in the comments. Until then, take a deep breath. You've got this. And hey, if no one ever told you the rules before, now they have.